Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Rockies Daily. I'm your host, Scott Ayers, where we are talking all things Colorado Rockies. Folks, if this isn't your first time watching, you may remember that a couple weeks ago, I waited till after a playoff game to decide to record a Rockies Daily, and the Denver Nuggets decided to lose in 6 games. Well, the Colorado Avalanche decided to return the favor. I waited till after that game. The Avalanche come back from 3 down to knock out the Minnesota Wild in what is one of the crazier wins for the Avalanche. The reason why I say that is instead of just recording right after the Rockies game, I said, no, I need to get my Colorado fix in. I'm glad I did it. The vibes are high. Vibes are high right now. The Avs win, maybe not more importantly, but to this show, more importantly, the Colorado Rockies take down the Pittsburgh Pirates 10-4 in a game where Mickey Moniak, the birthday man himself, had a tremendous game. It was a lot of fun to watch, and ultimately a really important bounce back win for the Colorado Rockies. This is a team that just got dominated by Paul Skeens. They're probably an O'Neill Cruz bad read on a pop fly away from possibly getting no hit. They just had a really terrible series against the Phillies. And the month of May has been pretty forgettable, but this is a game that you are able to build off of. And a game that had some really weird plays. Jake McCarthy had an unassisted double play, catches a line drive, and then just has a nice jog over to second. In the second, though, there was a runner interference on Jose Quintana that it looked like a play, simple toss over to second, runner runs through the bag. Then you get into this pickle situation. Quintana gets in the way, and Gonzalez scores because of a runner interference by Jose Quintana. Really, really strange stuff. The Pirates go up 3-0, and it was in the fifth inning where the Rockies just turned this game on their head, and give a lot of credit to some of those guys in the lineup that have struggled at times. Kyle Karros comes up with a big knock. Jake McCarthy with a big-time double. But, of course, it's Mickey Moniak with a 3-run bomb in the fifth inning. And that was obviously huge. That gives the Rockies a 6-3 lead. Senzatella gets the win in this one. He came in the fifth, pitches 3 innings, and the Rockies tagged on a few more runs to win this game 10-4. And ultimately, once again, the lineup comes through, but the bullpen also closed the door, something that they've struggled with in the last 2 weeks of the season. They get the job done today, which is great. Senzatella gives up a run, but then just one hit, 1 run. And then, of course, Jaden Hill and Brendan Bernardino both give you scoreless frames. Neither give up a hit, neither give up a walk, and it's exactly what the doctor ordered. This pitching staff needed a little pick-me-up. They just give up 3 runs in the first game of the series. They give up 4 in this one. But let's talk about the lineup, because they scored 10 runs and a really important bounce back. Because, look, Mitch Keller is really solid. He's been really solid this year for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Rockies are able to hang 6 runs on him, and they run him out of that sixth inning. He goes 5 2/3, but he gives up 7 hits, 6 earned runs. Came into this game with a sub-3 ERA, and that fifth inning just really was huge for Colorado. But look, this is a lineup that has actually played pretty well. Obviously, they had back-to-back games against the Phillies and the Pirates where they didn't get much from the offense, but otherwise, it's been pretty solid so far through the month of May. And then in this game specifically, we obviously will talk about Mickey Moniak, who has just been phenomenal. But a lot of other guys have been stepping up. Kyle Karros having a knock to get things going. Jake McCarthy with a big-time double. We even see Tovar going 1 for 3 today. So, look, anytime you score 10 runs, that feels great. And this offense now has had multiple explosive games over the last 10 or so days. And that's really important because one of the concerns we saw early on in the year was the pitching did everything possible to get the Rockies into games, and the lineup failed to deliver. Today, they absolutely delivered. And so really, really nice stuff overall. TJ Rumfield, he goes 3 for 4 with the bomb. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but the new signings over the last year or so, they've just been so impactful, and we see it every game. One of these guys of Johnson or Rumfield, McCarthy, Julian, they all have been overall as a group really impressive. And it's just so unlikely because I think a lot of us expected the typical Tovar, Doyle, Beck, Goodman, those to be the guys. Now, Hunter Goodman has still delivered, but we haven't seen it from some of those other guys. So really good stuff from this lineup as a whole. And it was, I think, just encouraging as well to see the bullpen close this thing out. But ultimately, to continue to tack on runs, they obviously score 3 in the ninth. And for Mickey Moniak, this is a game where he's a single shy of hitting for the cycle, right? That's how good he was on his birthday. The day he turns 28 years old, he just absolutely was a monster. Goes 3 for 5, double, triple, 3-run bomb, 5 RBIs on the day. His totals now for the year: 12 home runs, which is 10th best, 26 RBIs, which still is pretty darn good. And then his OPS is a 1.051 OPS, which is the 6th best in baseball. Mickey Moniak has been the Rockies' best player. And the conversation around him is going to be very interesting in terms of what do the Colorado Rockies want to do, because I think when he was signed last year, right, the Angels kind of let him loose. The Rockies picked him up. We'll see what we can get out of this guy. And he's been so good now for 2 years. And the question will come, well, should we reward this, right? And Mickey Moniak deserves to be rewarded. The question is, will that be with the Colorado Rockies, or will the Rockies look to deal Moniak? It's gonna be, I think, a really challenging decision for this front office in what they want to do, and also what are the kind of offers that they are getting for someone like him. Just the personal fan side of me would be really sad to see him go, just because of him being such a big success story for the Colorado Rockies. It's probably why I wouldn't make a great GM, because you just get attached to guys. It's like, I'm not trading this dude, even if he's batting like 185 because you've loved him for 10 years. But the Rockies front office is a lot smarter than I am, and they know how to detach those emotions. And so, as much as I would love Moniak to be a Rocky for the next 10 years, I think it's also reasonable to consider that the Rockies might see to be more logical to trade Moniak. But that's a bridge that we don't need to cross right now. Instead, I think it just is something that needs to be celebrated of his turnaround from just a few years ago. He goes from not being able to stay on the Angels roster to being the best player on the Colorado Rockies. And I recognize the Rockies are a team 9 games under 500, one of the worst teams in baseball history last year. But that was not because of Mickey Moniak. Mickey Moniak has been everything and more for Colorado. He's completely delivered. And honestly, he's filled a really important void. I would say him, Hunter Goodman, Tovar at times, and maybe the personality of Troy Johnson. But and I'm not actually including Johnson in this group, but just being really lovable Rockies players who are very talented. Just because when Charlie Blackmon retired, the Rockies just they did not have a single fan favorite. Like they really didn't. And Tovar broke out in 24. He obviously had some really exciting stuff from Brenton Doyle, but I wouldn't put Brenton Doyle in that category. I don't think he deserves it. Hunter Goodman, Moniak, Tovar, and I think Chase Dollander, if he's not there, he will be there. But that's really important, I think, when you're just talking about fandom and building a fan base, because you want to have players that are exciting and fun to watch and that are talented. And look, these guys are not the Ellie De La Cruzes or Fernando Tatis or Cal Raleigh or any of those guys, right? Like they're probably not on that level. However, they still provide a much needed spark and much needed star power that the Rockies just desperately need and feels like it's been a void for the last few years. So that was a lot, but ultimately, so glad Mickey Moniak is a Rocky. I'm so glad he has been such a good fit for this franchise, and so glad that he just kicked some major tail on his birthday to give the Rockies his 10-4 win, which leads us to, hey, look, we've got a rubber match, and the Rockies have a chance to win their first series of the month. Mason Montgomery versus Chase Dollander. And this Pirates rotation is legit. It's why this win was so impressive, because Mitch Keller is really solid. Montgomery so far this year has been great. A 2.87 ERA coming into this one. Dollander, as we know, has been just awesome. He is the ace of the Colorado Rockies. Even though he's the fourth man in the rotation, he's by far the best pitcher for Colorado and will be a really, really exciting game. Just in terms of being able to watch Dollander once again. So that's really one of the fun things when you are a bad team, is if you have some really fun, young, promising players, that you're seeing that development, that you are seeing that growth and that potential to be an all-star. That's who Dollander is. More than an all-star, but just like a star in the league. And so it's another test for the Rockies in what is a gauntlet of a month and start to the year. You know what? This is good, though. This is how you continue to build that culture and build this team up. So Rockies and the Pirates, chance to win the series, and it'll be behind Chase Dollander, which if you're looking to win a series, that's who you want pitching. So with that does it for another Rockies Daily. Just a quick scheduling update. I'm going to be traveling. Hope to have a video out for Friday, but if not, I'll see you next Monday. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Thursday, and I will see you next time.